welcome to the Patriot Torch. This is Marco Amaya. Election update 2020. Trump clearly won the election, and the mainstream media did not want to concede to a Trump victory. That's exactly what happened. And amazing thing is, the way it happened was crazy. So you have Trump, okay, it was like, we're waiting for the results. They're just just taking forever. These East Coast is not even done yet, and by the time the West Coast is counted, I mean, what in the world's going on here? And then so Trump's it was like 1 or 2 in the morning. Trump looks like he's winning, right? Because he's got all the states that he needs to be able to win enough electoral votes. We got Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and Georgia. Okay, they're all tinted red. They're all like in favor of Trump by a big margin. We're talking 700,000 Pennsylvania. North Carolina was almost completely done, and it was clear Trump won. Georgia by like 100-something thousand. Wisconsin 100-something thousand. Michigan 300,000. And then all of a sudden, as soon as the mainstream garbage media realized that Trump won the election, they stopped counting the votes. Just like that. They stopped counting the votes. They said, oh, we need to delay the votes. We need to delay the counting. Now, since when is election day not election day? We're supposed to know on election day. That's why it's called election day. Okay? Because that's when you elect the president. But now, election day, there's no meaning to election day because now they can elect, the media can decide who the president is whenever they freaking feel like it. And now the mainstream garbage media is the one, how is it that the mainstream garbage media has the power to decide who wins the races now with total bias, total massive bias that we've never seen before. In the first time in U.S. history, you delay the counting of a vote. And while on top of that, we're talking about all the blue states counted for Biden immediately. All the blue states, before the votes are done, they just counted for Biden automatically, just like that. And even Arizona, which people are saying that could flip to Trump, they called it for Biden already without it being ended. They didn't even want to finish the vote count. They already counted it for Biden. And that was Fox News, the supposed right-wing organization, right, which is still controlled, just like corrupt like the rest of the mainstream garbage media. They wanted Fox to call it so it makes it look legitimate, like, oh, the right-wing guys said Biden won Arizona. It's legitimate. No, it's not. They are corrupt, and these the mainstream garbage media, none of them wanted to call the states that Trump was winning because they didn't want Trump to win this election. It's just that clear. It's that obvious. Because guess what happened? They wanted to delay it so they could find a way to steal those states with mail-in ballots, these so-called mail-in ballots. Total fraud, because you can easily fake those things. There's been caught on camera fraudulent mail-in ballots. It's just widespread knowledge that these mail-in ballots are fraudulent. And then they magically come up with Wisconsin, just overnight. They find a stash of Joe Biden votes, over almost 140,000 votes. They just find a stash of these 140,000 Joe Biden votes, not a single Trump vote in there. Not a single Trump vote in there. That is not even statistically possible. That is complete fraud. They found just enough votes for Joe Biden to win, and they didn't find a single Trump vote in there. That is such garbage. Just such garbage. When you have Trump filling up tens of thousands of people everywhere in this country to want to see him, and Biden can hardly fill up a backyard. And we're supposed to believe that you find a stash of 140,000 votes for Biden, and it's only Biden? What in the world are we... And then you see AP, Associated Press, they get to decide who the winner is. AP calls it because they're so reputable. Yeah, now the fake news has this immense power. The same fake news that's been talking shit about Trump for the last 4 years, making up lies all the time, fake news onslaught, the same organizations are the ones deciding who wins the races. I mean, we're talking about the biggest, the most ridiculously fraudulent election we've ever seen in our lifetimes. The first time in U.S. history that you delay the winner. You delay the counting of the votes. This is crazy. This is crazy. And Trump won this election. Trump won. He had all the electoral votes. And any other election day, they would have called it and he would have won. But no, they want to fight it out, and then they want to flip it with the fraudulent votes, and then Trump is now having to go to the Supreme Court to fight it out, to make sure that these votes are not they cannot be fraudulently counted. Because these mail-in votes, you can't tell if they were filled out after the polls closed. Because they want to extend the date forever, basically. However long it takes to win the freaking election for Biden. So they're outright trying to steal the election right in front of our eyes. Okay? But Trump won this one. Trump won this one. I just want to make the record straight for the history books. Trump won this election. Now, let's see how it plays out. Let's see Trump can still win. It's very possible because the amount of fraud that's being exposed right now is so big. Everyone can see it. The Democrats playing dirty. The mainstream media playing dirty. They've been they were prepared for this. They were ready for this fraud. It was all planned. Because while Trump was winning on election night, you could see the states winning for Trump, and they just didn't want to call him. He was going to get all the electoral votes he needed. Biden comes out with a speech, says, I'm confident I'm going to win. I'm very confident we're going to win. How are you confident you're going to win while Trump's about to win the election? That just goes to show you that they were ready with fraud. Biden knew there was a stash of Biden votes just ready to get dumped onto the count. He knew. It was all planned out. That's why the mainstream media, on top of that, right, they've been talking about how Trump is a dictator. He's not going to want to concede to a Biden victory, blah, 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 blah. No, it's because they were ready to steal the election. They knew that Trump was going to have to fight it, that Trump was going to fight it. But they wanted to persuade you into believing that, Trump's the one that's trying to steal the election. So that way your brain gets all messed up and you don't realize the reality of what's happening. They were pre-programming you for this moment. They were getting ready because they want to steal it from you and make you think that that's normal. That's why Biden just automatically said he was going to win, without even any proof of it anywhere. It was just Trump was going to win, and then Biden comes out and says he's going to win. It's ridiculous. And then, on top of that, the whole mainstream media cartel is up there telling you that Biden's winning. Right, it was like 230 something, and Trump said 214, and 213 or whatever, and it's just staying there, right? And they just want you to see, Biden's winning. They just kept it, those numbers, right? The reason why it looked like Biden was winning was because they counted all the blue states for Biden, and they didn't count all the red states for Trump. It's all meant to psyop you, to control you, to make you feel like Biden's winning when he's not, when Trump already won. But they wanted to delay the vote so they can switch it up. They can flip all the states blue with all these fake votes. And that's why it has to be now the election's a legal battle. That has to be, instead of it being election on election day, now it's now the mainstream garbage media decides who gets to win, and then Trump has to go and fight it legally because they're going to try to steal this election. Because the whole establishment, the globalists, the New World Order, they were more prepared for this election to steal it. Because in the last one in 2016, they weren't prepared for that. They didn't think Trump was going to win. They didn't think he was going to win. And there was a lot of voting fraud back then too, but it wasn't as big as it is now. Because there wasn't as much censorship. There wasn't as many people getting banned that were conservatives, so there was still And they were when Trump won in 2016, the Google executives were crying and everyone was crying and there was horrible, and Project Veritas got the Google executives on hidden camera saying, "Oh yeah, we can never let 2016 happen again. We can never have a Trump situation again." So they were ready to start censoring people, and that's exactly what they did to prepare for this 2020 election. Censoring all kinds of people left and right, Google, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. They were banning people, deleting people, blocking stories that hurt Biden. I mean, they were all working together, and it's amazing that Trump still won, regardless of all of that censorship, because people have woken up to the immense amount of fraud that you have in the mainstream garbage media and the social media cartel companies that are trying to control your free speech, that have been banning people left and right. People still not giving in. That's amazing. That's a miracle right there. People waking up to this garbage, and that's a message to YouTube and Google and all that. Doesn't matter how much you silence us, we're gonna beat your ass politically, and we're still going to win. So just remember that for the history books. Trump won this election. Mainstream media did not want to concede to a Trump victory. As soon as they realized he was gonna win, they stopped counting the votes election night, and that's how it happened. So. And North Carolina, very suspicious, definitely voting fraud in North Carolina. They were one of the states that didn't want to say Trump won, but Roy Cooper definitely won. They just call Roy Cooper. Roy Cooper won the election for sure. Then why don't you say Trump won then? Trump is winning. Trump's winning the votes, and they don't want to call Trump, but they call Roy Cooper early on. And how is Dan Forest losing to Roy Cooper when Trump is winning? That means all the people voting for Trump, most of those people are voting for Dan Forest. How is there this gap? How is Roy Cooper magically coming up with all these numbers to beat Dan Forest like that? It doesn't make any sense. Trump voters will also want to have Republican governors. I mean, that's super suspicious right there. Super suspicious. But I believe there is definitely voting fraud in North Carolina, because look at how North Carolina just happens to be one of the states that doesn't want to, say that Trump won. I mean, it's crazy. This is crazy. And of course, the media doesn't want to call it because the media has the power to decide now, which is ridiculous. We're the people. We decide who wins the presidency, not the freaking fake news organizations. So that's my message about the election. And I'm going to keep looking out for more, information. Trump's fighting it out. Trump just called Pennsylvania a win, North Carolina a win, Georgia a win. So this is big. This is huge. This is huge. And honestly, it's probably the closest we've ever been to a civil war, because Trump's going to call the states he actually won. And then the mainstream garbage media doesn't want to concede, and they're probably going to try to say Biden won. So we're going to have two presidents. I mean, this is going to be... Now, let's pray for Trump, pray for America, in the name of Jesus, okay, that we're going to get through this, and no matter what happens, we're still going to be victorious no matter what, okay? Whether Trump wins or not, we're still going to be victorious either way, because, God's plan always prevails. But at the end of the day, it's just the voting fraud is huge. Because remember, they were saying all the fake polls were saying, Biden's going to win all these states when he didn't. Okay? So this should be waking a lot of people up to how much fraud there's going on in these elections. Okay? And they hate Trump so much, that's why they're doing this. The whole media's against him, the whole establishment's against him. I mean, this is proof that Trump is the real deal, that he's not sold out. There would be no need to have to work this hard to steal the election from Trump if he was sold out. So Trump is real, and they really don't like Trump. They really don't like Trump. And Trump might still pull this off. It might still win. It has a very good chance of winning. So pray for the protection for Trump and America. And I will see you in the next one.